Morning, everybody. How you all doing? It is Saturday, the 26th of July, 2025. We have a full slate of goings ons. I don't think Rodney's going to be able to get with us this morning. He was late to get to bed, as per norm for Rodney, but we are here and we are getting it in. When Sister Rashi comes up, we will speak to her directly about some things that she's been able to accomplish this week. In addition to that, we have a guest slated to come on later on today, and actually at a different spot because he had something going on. So God willing, the creek don't rise. We're actually able to get him in today. Goodness, dusty. And obviously, we'll talk about the loss of Malcolm-Jamal Warner, also known or better known as Theo. In most black households, if you watch the Cosby Show in the 80s and 90s, he was a beloved character, the only son of Cliff and Claire Huxtable. Um, I'll get to that in a second. I wanted to start though with a couple of things. As you get older, you tend to do better. Hopefully, as you get older, you tend to recognize that life is precious and life is short. I'm driving the other day, and I passed a community, nice community. It was a 50 and 5 and over community. And I was like, damn, that's nice. That looks really nice. It's nice that senior citizens are allowed, have dwellings like such, and it's a good look, right? Then I thought to myself, hold on, dog. That shit said 55. That's almost you, dog. Like, I'll be 51 this year. When the hell did I become a senior citizen? Like, when did this happen? Oh my God. It really hit me over the head. I was like, oh my goodness, dog. Like, okay. So first off, you don't feel it. Mostly, mainly, I don't think most people feel it. Then it's just the actualization of, yo, they talking about you, right? Like, how the hell did I get to this level? I'm walking around at work, and oftentimes my staff are, they calling me OG or whatever, and I'm like, whatever. But I am an OG. I'm 50 years old, dog. That's crazy. That is absolutely freaking insane to put in my little pea brain that I'm actually approaching senior citizenship. Like, AARP is calling. I need to get some of that life insurance they be selling on TV, the Colonial Pen for $9.99. Guaranteed acceptance. I need to get me some of that. It really hit me. And then the other part, morning Sister Rashi, morning Brother Barry.
I'm listening
is-
to your old man
I got
soliloquy.
you.
It's deep.
The other part is, Brother Barry, I think you'll really appreciate this. I'm a booty man. Love booty. Just love it. Love a woman with a big old booty. But as you get older and you start to think about them vibes, rich and poor, better and worse, and sickness and health, then you think about wiping that big old ass. Like, I don't know if I'm on the booty train no more. I really don't know. I think I might want to go to the small booty versus the big booty train. I think I
Jesus
need to switch
Christ.
track. I need to get on another line. No, because then you start seeing women that are older and they have
I ain't mad at you, Lee.
bladder issues and all this type stuff. It's like, I
Because
don't
them playgrounds is starting to go out of fashion, too. You know what I mean by the playground.
know what's that.
Thomas, you know what the playground is?
I'm not even going there with you, Rashi, this morning. I know exactly what you're talking about.
What is the playground, Rashi?
Thomas, help me out, brother. Come on.
I am not doing that. Nope, nope.
The
What is the
playground,
playground,
okay,
Rashi?
the playground is when a man is pregnant, but ain't no baby ever gonna come out. But he can't see his penis. He can't see his
Oh,
boobs.
okay,
He
I
can't
got you.
see none of
I got
that.
you.
But he tell you, come on, play on this playground, baby.
Well,
But
that's
when
what
we
we had.
start looking at that playground and how thick that omentum is and how bloated, how much backed up bowel there is left in there, to help it bloat like that. and the
But then,
habits, the drinking habits, and we all starting to look at each other, Lee. Like, no, he gotta he don't he can't he gonna stroke
no,
out. Or
no, no, no,
no,
no, no,
he
no,
too yeah.
no. Don't go there, because the other side of that equation is and was, yes, we are starting to look at one another differently, but also the the desire to couple is getting stronger and stronger the older I get, without a doubt, and not because of
I don't
the
want to
sick.
die alone.
No, no, not for, and that's where I was going. Not for the sickness and health, not the loneliness part, but you know, there's only but so much more I want to do by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to enjoy that last stretch with somebody else, to fully enjoy it and embrace it, to really um, taste or feel the richness of it. And it's not about I don't want to die alone. It's not about I need somebody to take care of me. It's about I really want to share some memories and make some memories with somebody. I really want to build and leave a legacy with somebody. I really want to see both of us win, and then see our children, maybe not our children, but our children's children. Because them kids is off the chain, dog. It's something about them little motherfuckers. It's like, I just want to take it and just, did I teach you it? Where the hell did you get that from? But them kids, them babies, you can get them babies, and you can guide them babies. See, them babies want to be with Papa. Them babies want to be with Grandma. Them, or whatever you all want to call yourselves nowadays. They want to be with y'all. So you can take them and get them on the path and guide them up to where they looking at their parents like, what the hell wrong with you? Then they want to live with you. Now that's the problem later on in life. But it's okay. It's
Right.
okay. So yeah, that's my thought process at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I
But
just looked it up, and
but
the statistics say that remarriage is up. They saying that in that what they said 20 the 45 to 64-year old demographic, that it's up 31%.
there you go.
So
There you go.
the
You know,
idea that I got to find somebody real quick to die next to me is not an alien one.
it's not about finding somebody real quick to die next to you. Rashi, why you gotta put all the negative shit on there all the time? It's not. It's not
Just
about that.
I thought that was
It's
being
about
positive. It's
really,
positive not to die alone. They can call the people you don't lay there and stink for all that time.
Oh, look.
Thomas. I agree with you. I can't fool with her this morning. She done got certified and she done lost her mind. See what I'm saying? She got that little certificate in her hand now. Now she done just totally gone crazy. Congratulations, though, sis. Yeah, you've been working
I
on
didn't
that
know
for
if
a
we was gonna get
while.
to broker that subject at all. Well, thank you so much for including my accolades in the schedule today. It was not an easy task. I did not give it the weight it deserves. I, as you know, am dealing with quite a bit of family stuff. I'm a what you call the Keystone family, where, well, for one,
Mm,
I'm the only one with a car. That'll fuck you up right there. And secondly, everybody is either younger than me or so much considerably older than me that they can't really do what needs to, they're not even thinking about what needs to happen, or they physically can't do it.
gotcha.
So you become the legs of the elderly, and pretty much the brains of the people younger than you. And I tried to do all that. I just started the certification process in it around spring break. That would have been late February, early, it would have been March. So from February to till now, till 2 weeks ago, to a week ago, I
Right.
had been calling myself studying. Well, that was grading time. That was end of the year. This that was and my granddaughter. I'm a grandma. I'm grandma damn near before I'm a mama. And so I looked up and I realized that, and I do this all the time, y'all. This is actually a personal flaw of myself. I have not given the time to getting to know a task that it deserves. So I
Mm,
end up either, faking it till I make it, like Eddie say, faking my way to the top, or I just, I just don't feel good about the win in general, because I know what it takes for me to feel good about a win. I know that
Okay.
a win is a win, a win is a win. But when you realize what it took to get it, I don't know. I feel I am happy now. I'm not going, but I also know what I was supposed to do was, especially since the summer started, go get me a little cheap ass hotel somewhere, somewhere that's real, that ain't crack infested, where I could sit with myself and study, hone my craft, look at what the information is, and get myself prepared for testing the way I like to. What I had to do instead was beg people to pick up their children early so I could go study in a grocery store, deli. I had to go and, I had to segregate myself in the room. I had to give my car away so that people don't ask me to go somewhere and then I'm able to stay in one place for a long time. So it is a win. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's a win. It's a big win. However, the true work now is you don't automatically get a job. Getting your certificate does not get you a job. Getting your certificate gets you in the pool so that you can get a job, and that's my next step. I'm fortunate in that my district trained me, and so it's a good, who trains a person and then releases them to go make their money, to make their money back elsewhere. You train them, and then you utilize that person you trained within the district and department that you're in. So I do have that. However, if I'm not bound, because if it's a non-competitive wage and I've been sitting here making $25 an hour for the last 4 years and my co-teachers are up in the 50s, damn near 60s, I'm not if somebody say come get your $60,000, I'm going to kiss my district very kindly on the cheeks and high step it on to, Booty Crack, Missouri, because that's where I'm at now. I'm a Missouri trained instructor. So where they hire you at is where they say, get back in your house before the sun go down. And I'll do it for a little
Mm.
while. For a little while, I'll travel. I'm not married to my district, even though they did train me. I would prefer to stay here. My family's here, but true, if you once you get certified in a craft, you're supposed to be able to travel with that. It's a spreadable, what I'm saying, it's supposed to qualify you for more, and I'm looking forward to more. And if more is not with my district, I'm going to have to keep seeking. I mean, I'm getting, what you say, Lee, I'm getting old out here, brother.
That's
And
it.
even though I don't intend to retire, I'll probably have to get sick and die in my craft,
Mm-hmm.
because like I told y'all, I started with retirement. I retired from the time I looked at somebody trying to get pregnant to the time that my son was about 3. And that was a span of almost more than 10 years. So I graduated in 2014, right? And so now, is that not crazy? Now is when I'm able to really use those all that degree that my debt that I didn't set up there and racked up. So
Right.
so I look forward. Thank you so much for including me. I'm sorry, I know I didn't went in about 3 minutes now. Please forgive me. And so other than that, yeah, I look forward to the next year. But now the deal with certified instructors are, last year, when I slapped the shit out of a little kid, I could have told him I was not properly trained on classroom behavioral maintenance. But unfortunately, I have been trained, and they did specifically say I am not to hurt the children. And so
Mm.
now I have absolutely no excuse. I have to use other coping mechanisms. So there's a win and a loss, right, Lee? Right, brothers? There's winning and losing. But not just because I can't hit them, but I'm responsible for a lot more data now, a
Okay.
lot more
So,
than I would have been in the past.
all right, sis. Again, we wanted to acknowledge you and say congratulations. You definitely earned that, and that was definitely on top on the agenda. To be honest with you, I put it in the notes and everything else. I wanted to start off a little differently, uh, and you all listen, listen. Don't judge. Let me finish what I'm about to say. Rodney's about to have a heart attack. Thomas, please have 911 on speed out. I feel bad for Donald Trump. I feel bad. Oh, jeez, man. I feel bad for Donald Trump because the focus of all this foolishness is him. It's not the real people behind it that are pushing the buttons and pulling the levers. It's him being the face. We are going to remember him as the cause of this evil, the root of the evil, versus remembering the people that are truly pushing the buttons and pulling on the levers. Those are the folks, inclusive of him, that need to be rooted out. Issue is, again, history will not speak of them. They will be whispers in the back rooms. They will be discounted by the masses as um, conspiracy. You are now a conspiracy seeker, members of the conspiracy that never really existed. This is the only reason that I feel bad for Donald Trump. It's not a numbing reason. It's not a freezing reason. It is just one in which I had to do some deep dive and think to myself that again, in years to come, his name will come up time and time and time again versus this guy, this guy, this guy, and this gal, whom are the true masterminds, whom are the true button pushers to the majority of the issues that he has been become the face of. It's not that I don't think he's a bad guy. It's not that I don't think he is a horrible president. But again, it's he is the scapegoat for many folks to ride into the sunset on or under, I should say, as they continue to work in the shadows to push forward this agenda that's wreaking havoc not only on our nation but also on the world. I thought about that and wanted to start off with that. Again, Rodney, please take your blood pressure pill. And if you need a medic, it's okay. I got them on speed dial to get to you. Again, I'm not giving him a pass. Not giving him a pass. I understand him. I'm just saying he is the guy that will forever be the face of
Right.
this foolishness
Why do
versus
you believe this
you.
league? Do you think he's just not intelligent enough to be the Green Master, or
Yes,
why are you putting this on so many other people? Why wouldn't
he's
you
not.
place this in his plate and not disperse this amongst others?
Rodney said I should have slept a little longer so I could have missed that part. Look, I'm yes, sis. I do not believe he is smart enough to be the cat behind all of this. I do not think he's strong enough to be the cat behind the majority of this.
You know, other
Um,
people agree. They say the Ring Master is Stephen Miller.
mm, but again, how often are we bringing up Stephen Miller's name? How often are we bringing up the brother we talked about just last week, the billionaire that owns Oracle? What's his name? Larry Ellison. How often do we talk about him? We don't.
You talking about the Heritage Foundation guy who died?
No, no. I don't think Larry Ellison's dead. Mm-mm. No. But again, it doesn't matter. My point being, and again, I'm not placating to this cat. I'm not taking a second chair. I'm not letting him off the hook. I'm just saying, too often we're going to speak only of him and or bring up only his name, and he is not the only one in control of this
Did
boat.
y'all see the South Park episode that he's been crying about? Did y'all
I
see
was
that?
going. I was going to bring that up. Yes, that was hilarious. Where he sued the entire town. Because,
Have you guys seen any snippets of it, Brother Barry? Have you seen any clips of
and
that?
and literally, he was in bed with the devil because he figuratively is in bed with the devil right about now. So yeah, I can.
So what happened is that's going to be a problem. I don't think I've ever seen a nation be able to attacked the president in quite in the I mean showing his micro penis and well I mean you laughing but I don't know if his ego is
Yes.
strong enough to handle that degree of public scrutiny without like literally suing somebody like the soap
Oh,
show.
he gonna sue somebody.
The show was a joke about him being litigious, but he is. And when you show his not a cartoon version, they showed like a magazine cutout version of his face. That's not a caricature of him. It was his actual face on top of a cartoon body, completely naked with a micro penis. And so I don't honestly think that the political machine we have now can handle that kind of stuff without going back and saying, you're about to get canceled or something like that. Even they had Jesus cussing on there talking about shut the fuck up. So it crossed like 4 or 5 different lines at a time, and I just wanted to know if y'all had got it. It ain't nothing but 20 minutes. It ain't no hour long shit. It's a 20-minute episode. So in 20, what is it, 22 minutes? Ain't that what they give you in regular TV? 22 minutes. So
No.
y'all, so in about 22 minutes, they were able to do some real serious, I don't know, so psychological implantation with people. So yeah, not because I want y'all to be for South Park fans, but just to see where we as a nation are willing to go with our president. Like I'm telling you, this episode could not have been aired in the Philippines or I don't even think nowhere in South America for real would have accepted it. Uh maybe the Netherlands where they don't mind showing, all kind of stuff to children. But just get a chance to look at it, fellas, so you can see the level of dissent. What I call it is dissent. That's all it can be called is when you make a video like that showing the president El Flagrante. Uh, that's all it can be. Our small way of saying no, we don't appreciate it and we want to fight back. But if you
Mm.
get bored and you got 15 minutes to spare, check it out.
It was South Park at its best. They really ripped into him. This is not something that they do well in advance. They had to have done this extremely recently because they mentioned the Epstein files a gazillion times in the sketch. They it was brilliant. I mean, there's no other way really I can describe it. I loved it. And the other part of it is, so he filed the lawsuit, and the part of the settlement was that the town had to produce PSAs for him, and they did this PSA dog, and they ripped that dude. Even in the PSA, they ripped him. They had some guy dressed as him. They sent him like in the middle of the desert, and he was coming out with a suit all sweaty, and he's as he's walking, they're talking about all his accomplishments. He's just taking off clothes, which again exposes his penis or what lack thereof, and it was just hilarious, man. It was funny, very funny. Colbert and him are still going at it. Colbert opened up his monologue this week, and during which he told Donald to go fuck himself. We wanted to pick up on that because that's what we ended at last week with respect to the First Amendment rights and the merger. So the merger finally went through between Paramount and Skydance this week. $8 billion merger. The finally approved by the FCC. Well, wonder how that works, but it was, and it has been talked about that obviously Colbert losing his show was a sticking point to having this merger cross over the threshold. With him losing his show, it got over miraculously, and there we are. There's a bigger issue at hand, though. We talked about this before with the press corps being manipulated like they have been, with folks being banned from the room, folks being banned from just traveling with the president in an unprecedented manner. We can clearly see him suing newspapers, him suing network television, him threatening to sue just about anybody and everybody, and then them foolishly. Well, is it really foolish for them to make the business decision to go ahead and just settle and pay? I mean, the money obviously is going directly to his pocket; it's not going anyplace else. But he is getting rich off of suing or threatening to sue organizations for doing their actual job, for participating in government the way that they're supposed to participate. Is
The
this not
president,
training others
the next
to?
president to get in office and strip those corporations of their ownership and kick them out. The airways belong to the people. It is foolish. And part of it is monopoly laws, and it's breaking the monopoly laws that have not changed off the books.
Okay.
For those corporations, CBS, after Paramount gets sold over to this other corporation, whoever the next president is and the new Congress should break that company up. And they should break up the rest of these companies. The sad part about all of this is that no one's questioned the fact that if all this information about Epstein was out there, if this is all about what Colbert is saying and everyone else is saying, why wasn't this ever brought up under Biden? Why wasn't this a part of the conversation in the campaign last year? Those are the questions that we should be asking, which makes the Democrats complicit in everything that Trump is doing. And so if we want to really take a look at what the problem is that A, corporations are bending their knee, just like the University of Columbia. Secondly, when you take a show like Colbert and you take it off the air based off of this president's feeling, then we have entered into a dictatorship. And it means that the airways, like PBS, NPR, and others, no longer belong to the public or the people. It now belongs to that president. And so I just don't understand the logic that we're using on a political level. And it should be more questioning of not just the Republicans. We need to question both parties, because the questions have to come in, because when the Democrats get back in control, what are they going to do? And it has to be a roadmap. They have to be courageous enough to say what they are going to do at that point. Are they going to halfway walk back some of these things that he is doing with his executive orders? Which, by the way, Americans need to understand that executive orders are not laws. They are not laws. So those executive orders can be overturned. However, watching what's happening with these corporations and these news organizations, anytime that he feels offended, the Colbert piece to me was just the cherry on top.
I can do that. All right.
When was the last time you watched late night television, Brother Barry? When was the last time they caught you at 9? What is it? It's 10 to
Rashi,
10:30, ain't it?
I work till 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm always
Yeah, 11. What'd you say, bro?
So you don't actually consume the TV that they're talking about.
No, I do consume the television that they're talking about. It's Paramount altogether. Paramount, which is CBS. I consume CBS for quite a bit of programming. And I know everybody's using this lame excuse about commercials. Well, commercials would be commercials if you broke up these larger corporations for swallowing up the smaller corporations. They would have to compete. And that's how you get advertisement dollars back into television. It's not really that complex.
I don't know if it's the advertising dollars or the actual audience. I don't know many people who, if they're up at 10:30, are watching.
I don't think his viewership is an issue. I mean, he has the #1 rated late night show, so his viewership has not been an issue at all. To Brother Barry's point, it is about advertising dollars, and as we've spoken on before on the show, the way that everyone's getting information now has definitely changed. However, regardless of all of that, if his viewership is still there, and to your point, Brother Barry, if the advertisers had to compete more than not, then the revenue would be there,
And,
without a doubt. And even so, with all that,
yeah,
let's dismiss all of that. He still had the number one rated late night show. Period. Why is the number one rated late night show going away? Period. For
yeah,
what reason?
yeah.
Who kicks out a winner? Who kicks out a winner? Unless you're the New England Patriots or the Baltimore Ravens at quarterback.
Well, MSNBC did that with Phil Donahue because of his critique over angry white men in 2006. He had the number one rated show on MSNBC, and they canceled his show. Part of it was because I don't think the Bush administration liked what Phil Donahue was talking about. When you take a look at Joy Reid, her numbers over at MSNBC, her numbers, while they did lose some viewership, she had higher viewership than some of the other shows over there. And once again, it goes back to the ad revenue. That's what they're using to say why they're canceling these shows. And let's be real, I wasn't a fan of Jay Leno, long lasting show. I can't remember one time I sat down and watched Johnny Carson, long lasting show. I can't remember many people in our community that was watching Johnny Carson or Jay Leno. Does not mean that they didn't have successful shows. I believe that what we're seeing is just dictatorship by this president. And that's why, Lee, your soliloquy early on, I can't give him a pass because
Not giving him a pass.
Stephen Miller was not behind the birther situation with him and Barack Obama. And that's what gave him his rise to fame. His rhetoric towards Barack Obama allowed him to be looked at as a presidential candidate. And we have to always be mindful of how he positioned himself by attacking the first black president. And we can't let that slide. I don't feel sorry for him. I mean, listen, I don't talk ill of the dead, but if Donald Trump rest in piss, I wouldn't be upset.
Wow.
I'm just being honest with you. I really, when I watch and see what he's doing to people, I mean, they're talking about limiting Section 8 to families for only 2 years. We're talking about cutting off SNAP benefits. We're talking about not feeding hungry people. We're talking about not dealing with people who are in dire need of medical attention. They want rural hospitals losing funding and being shut down. I can't feel sorry for anybody that signs up to be the face of that. Because the Epstein piece, let's be real, those two had a sick fetish with young girls. As the lady has said it on television, on CNN in the interview, Epstein's girlfriend, when Epstein told Donald that she wasn't for him, and Trump said, "Oh, I thought she was that 16-year-old girl." We can't keep asses, because I'll say it like I said last week. In turn, when we talk about our own people, we're drilling them to death. R. Kelly does not get a pass. Bill Cosby does not get a pass. Last week, we started talking about our uncles and cousins and everything else. They don't get a pass. But the piece about white folks is that sometimes, every time they're in trouble, they always end up being a sympathetic figure.
Hold on now.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you are giving him a pass. But what I'm trying to explain to you is sometimes we got to break the nuance down fully. Because if you don't break the nuance down fully, somebody else will hear what you said. And then when they go regurgitate, because we're living in an age of social media.
Yes, we are. Yes, sir.
What they're going to say is, I feel bad because he and Stephen Miller, and we have to be mindful that in his previous administration, Stephen Miller wasn't there and he did harmful things to the country. When he was talking at birther talk, Stephen Miller wasn't there and he did harmful things to the country. When he was with old boy and messing with them young girls, I don't believe young Stephen Miller was there. So we have to always put it in the right perspective. Even when he was going after the Central Park 6 and those racist ads that he was putting in the newspaper in New York, I don't believe Stephen Miller wrote those ads. This is who Donald J. Trump is. His hero is Hitler, and we have to understand that. And I wish that in this society, we could be more courageous in our conversation in the critique of him. I feel like Jerome Powell is the only person that got balls in this country, because Jerome Powell took it directly to him and told him that he was wrong.
Well, Jerome Powell has totally been a thorn in his side without a doubt, and he appointed Jerome Powell.
Mhm.
So
Sure.
that's even, I think, even more sticky for him. But we'll see. We'll see how long this goes, because he has said clearly, Jerome Powell said clearly, that he ain't stepping aside, he ain't rolling over. Under the law, he cannot be removed. So I think he has done what I had hoped even years ago Chief Justice Roberts was going to do, which was put his legacy above anything else. So Jerome Powell is definitely tying his legacy to this fight with Trump right now. He is tying the fact that the Fed should remain separate from the direct control of the government for the sake of making good policy decisions that are good for the nation, not just for a party, but good for the nation as a whole. Uh, this is why he has not rolled up yet, I don't think, and announced the cuts that Trump was expecting to come. We just ain't there yet. Now, I think we're going to get there, because we are hurting around the world, not only via tourism, we're also hurting around the world as to a valuation of our dollar, which directly is impacting me as I'm about to go on freaking vacation out of the country, thinking that I was going to be sitting pretty, and now I'm like, well, I'm gonna be more even than not, and that ain't cool, that ain't cute. Rodney, when we were at the Coon, if you remember, Kunsan Air Force Base, I'm sorry, you all. In South Korea, there were times when the dollar was crushing the won, and brothers would go out, sisters would go out and take a paycheck and pay their entire freaking rent for the year they were there, because that's how much of a valuation it was. One to one was not one to one in any shape or form.
Mhm.
And now we're talking about, I don't even know. I got to look at it, actually, see what the conversion rate is. But just the fact that the dollar is so weak around the world is a problem,
Yeah.
without a doubt. You know what I'm saying? So he may very well have to step in and do a rate cut. But that doesn't mean it's going to mean anything for the housing market. Like,
Yeah.
the housing market is stagnant as hell,
Mhm.
because regardless of what the Fed does, not we have, going back to what you said, Brother Barry, we have too many corporations in that pot. Single family homes are no longer owned by single families like they once were. They're now owned by corporations. I talked about this, what was last week before last? Driving around and you seeing these freaking housing developments in their houses, but the sign clearly says for rent. It doesn't say for sale.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to see that more often. Not as much. There's still plenty of for sale signs. But I am actually starting to see more specific developments that are strictly rentals. And they are single family, what we would consider starter homes. But they're being rented, not sold. And that's a freaking problem.
For non-affordable prices.
Supply and demand. Yeah, the problem is supply and demand. And then the problem is this idiot is trying to fire everybody and their mama. And that is having a downstream effect on anything and everything else. If you're not sure that you're going to get a paycheck in 2 weeks, once a month, whatever, what have you, how the hell can you go out here and get a mortgage? What bank is going to lend to you? The way the credit score and all that other type jazz is set up. Where you
Right.
going to get that 10, 15, 20% as a down payment from? Even with the first time buyer programs, whatever other incentives you may have, where you coming up with those closing costs?
You're not. You're not.
How you going to pay the inspector?
You're not.
How you gonna pay the appraiser? I mean, come on, dog. There's all kinds of money. I'm sorry, Rodney. There's all kinds of monies involved with getting a freaking home. How the hell are you gonna be able to afford those things? And you don't know if you're getting a paycheck or your paycheck is threatened because yes, you may not work for the federal government directly, but by that third rung, by that fourth rung, that's where you hit. Your job is directly connected to the federal government through three other damn jobs, or two or three other damn industries, and all you do is supply them with the supplies they need to then turn around and supply somebody else with the supplies they need to then go to the government, the national government. I'm sorry, the federal government. I apologize. You know what I'm saying? And you have states all throughout the freaking country telling everybody right now, yo, tighten up the belt. The money ain't coming.
Well, here's the thing, though. The truth of the matter is, and this goes back to collectively as citizens and our focus. It's not like the money's not there. You have to ask, where is the money being diverted to? That's the question nobody seems to ask.
The military gets a huge chunk of it.
No, military's always gotten their chunk. Military's always gotten their chunk. Where's the money being diverted to? So ain't nobody asked that question. If I say I'm cutting, that means I'm not putting money over here. Where am I putting that money to? Are they really paying it towards the debt? Or no. Where's that money going?
Healthcare?
No, because they're cutting that too. Where's the money going? They're cutting education. Where is the money going? No one's asking that question. And that's the most simplest thing that you could ask.
Well, where do you see it going to?
I think that we're just getting robbed right in front of us. Can you take me out of the single screen so I can make sure that, because I want Rodney to come in too. He's kind of quiet today. Let's bring Rodney into the
conversation. Well, he's just waking up, so I was gonna let him get in because he's been commenting a lot, but he ain't said a word yet.
You get the best stuff when people wake up. That means that they honor and they're ready to tell you what's really on their mind. So Rodney, I mean, what do you see this money going to?
Good morning, everybody. Hope it's a good morning for you. I mean, they told us where it was going in Project 2025. I'm not sure why it's even a question because they documented what they were going to do with it. Moscow Mike used Congress to carry out what they said they were going to do with it. This is the largest transfer of money from everybody else to the rich in the history of this country. So yes, we are all being robbed because the money, whatever money that is being generated that wasn't generated before, is going directly into the pockets of less than 80 families in this country. It might be like a lot less than 80 families, but I know at most 80 families are getting trillions of dollars. The money that the so-called money that they're generating from tariffs, it's not going to pay down the debt or the deficit. It's going to fund rich people. The debt and the deficit both are ballooning because of them taking this money and whatever money they can generate and they're giving it to rich people. That is the easiest thing to answer, is they're robbing from the poor and mostly everybody else. And they're giving not just to the rich, but to the uber wealthy, the multi-billionaires of this country. Oh, and going back to Epstein, I kept trying to put it into the chat. Remember that Epstein died before the Biden administration. So there was no opportunity for Biden to prosecute the dead man.
Oh, no, we're not talking about prosecution. We're talking about the testimony after the fact. So I'm just looking at it from the aspect that this information was already out there. And I want to keep on harping the fact that prosecutors know what was in the conversation. the FBI knew what was in the conversation. This was an investigation. This just didn't happen inside of a vacuum. And this is why I often say when I look at DC, it's just a replica of the WWE. Because they have things and they can do things to cripple one another, but they don't. We have to always ask the question of why don't they? I know AIPAC is a large reason why. And I know that Epstein was a part of the Mossad. So I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of foreign dignitaries that he has information on. The U.S. may feel like our allies or whatever the case may be. But sometimes you got to kill your allies to save your country. And I feel like that's part of the problem. It's always this idea that we're saving the rest of the world, but what about the American people? Because that's who's paying now. And we can use all of the soliloquies that we want to, but the democracy may fail under this regime because those things were not taking place. That information ain't just new. People have been knowing about this information for quite some time. And that's not the first time that we've seen this happen. We had the same situation during COVID, where reporters knew that it was airborne. They talked to Trump, they talked to other people, and they knew. They didn't say anything until millions of people died. We have to stop giving people passes when they know. And that's part of the thing that we do. And partially, it's always white folks who know.
So I'm just so I'm clear, if Epstein was dead, the case was sealed, and the Biden administration were in the process of unsealing the case. I mean, the president, under normal circumstances, does not have the authority to release that information. It has to go through the Justice Department. Well, at that time, the Justice Department was sort of working like a Justice Department should work, and had separation from the president and doesn't take orders from the president. So Biden didn't have the authority to unseal those documents.
I would say that it's not necessarily about unsealing the documents. It's about the information that was in those documents, period. Whisper campaigns work all the time in politics. People know.
So I think that...
And let me say this too, because I know where you're about to go, and it's the integrity piece. Well, the integrity piece is why the country is about to crumble. And so while we're standing on this principle, and you're going up against someone you know that does not have any principles whatsoever, that will use a scorched earth tactic, you have to protect by all means against this particular person. And let me say this one last thing too. According to the witness who was Epstein's girlfriend, who said that she's talked to the FBI on a few occasions about Donald Trump and him saying that he thought she was a 16-year-old girl. That conversation alone, when we start talking about politics, and both parties do it. So let's not act like they don't do clean, that they don't put harmful things out there about one another. There was not a peep about that situation with Donald J. Trump during all of this. So you don't have to open up the case files per se, but he should have had to play defense about this Epstein situation during the campaign trail. Kamala Harris' entire life was opened up about people were calling her a whore. People were talking so unsavory about that system. And yet we're talking about saving this man's dignity for molesting underage girls. We got to stop lying. Do we care about children? Do we care about the most vulnerable? Or do we only care about the dignity of what we feel like this democracy is supposed to be?
I think we have to care about what's right and wrong and the process of that right and wrong. Because once you start having an exception for this, then there's an exception for that. And that leads us down that slippery slope to, well, dang, why are we even fighting against the other guy? Because we're no different from him or her. And in this case, him. So I see nothing wrong.
Wait, hold on. So when you call this woman a whore, if she says, and what about you on Epstein Island? What's the difference? Like what's wrong with her? He's saying that. It's not like, this is what I'm saying, Rodney. They don't have to open up the files. The conversation was never broached while this woman's sexual history was on display for the nation. Now, this is where I agree with Black women. Like, this is the part that's really harmful. Because why, if we're talking about this woman being a whore, they're going around finding the men that she slept with. You're telling me that it's a woman that's doing an interview on CNN right now, talking about how he groped her and how he thought she was a 16-year-old girl. Like, that's out there for the public. It's not her first time talking to reporters. For him to be able to campaign and talk about Kamala in that way and that not to come up, we don't even have to say about opening the FBI files. We don't even have to talk about the grand jury testimony. This woman is just floating out there. This is free conversation for anyone. Epstein brothers willing to say whatever. Why not?
You lay down with dogs, you get fleas.
Hey, man.
we don't have to be like them to beat them.
Well, I would say Howard Dean said yeehaw, and the Democrats called him crazy. But he also said that he was going to break up the conglomerates at the same time. And it was the Democrats who had a campaign. So it's not like they're not used to laying down with dogs to get their way.
So hold on. Give me a second. So, Rodney, you said we don't have to be like them to beat them.
100.
Huh?
100.
So how do we beat them?
Well, first of all, we can put forth some candidates that can win. We can talk about the things that the people want to talk about. There's a whole bunch of things that we could have done to win. You know, let's be honest. Kamala Harris, as a presidential nominee, when she ran for president, got out the race early because she could not generate the necessary support to win. So picking a failed candidate to be your
standard bearer that late in the race.
And at the very end of an existing race, the one person who proved could beat 45 and really had the best policies, the policies that benefited the entire country, including Black people. You take him out at the last minute, it was confusing. It made the Democrats look weak. And one of the things that the people said they wanted is they wanted strength and they wanted a winner. She was not a winner. She did not exude strength, and she was a loser. So the fact that she lost, I was actually there to meet President Biden when they basically pulled him out the race. And they told us that day when I was there that they were pulling him out of the race. And they even told us when he would make his announcement and that, you know, Kamala Harris was going to be the person. And automatically knew we lost right then and there. Play a football game, basketball game, baseball game with your pitcher, your quarterback, you know, your top player, the one that has proven victories, and you pull them out at the last minute, it demoralizes the team. There's confusion. Now, did she run a good race in the time that she had? She ran a good race in the time that she had, but she lost, and it was a predictable loss. So, I'm not going with any of that other stuff.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on. See, this is why I like American sports and politics similarity. You know, the Patriots are seen as a great dynasty, but they had the most cheating scandals out of any Super Bowl era winning dynasty ever. And while we count their titles, it's not that they actually beat teams fair and square. They cheated to win. I'm never going to say someone is a loser because they lost if there's unforeseen circumstances that made them lose. I wouldn't say that she was a loser. based off of some of the other things that were taking place, like purging the voter rolls in those swing districts and things of that nature. Let's be real; those citizens, their rights were not protected by the federal government. And we can't keep on sweeping that up under the rug. When you start purging the rolls of African Americans inside of Georgia, you start purging the rolls of African Americans inside of Pennsylvania, inside of Ohio and Carolina, the irregularities of the voting turnout where everyone else down the ballot won except the presidential races in Carolina, inside of Pennsylvania, inside of Ohio. And these are not things that I'm just saying. This is actually people who are well versed at this science and this data. Now, I know we talk about the Democrats like science about everything else except about voting turnout. And part of it is that we have to admit that the democracy at this point is very vulnerable. It's very vulnerable, and it's been vulnerable since 2000.
But how do we? Okay, I agree with the vulnerability. I agree with your point, Rodney. It happens every election, but still, whomever wins. What do we do to help steady some of that vulnerability? What do we do to help?
Admit it's there. Admit it's there. Like when you ignore something and then you just blame people. See, it's the blame game. This is the perfect American thing. We'll say, oh, black men didn't get out enough to vote. We'll say, yeah, because a handful of Latinos said they were for Trump. Now all the Latinos are for Trump. We'll say, oh, it was white. If they can manipulate the outcomes and falsify the data, it does not mean, or purge the rolls so other people can't show up to the polls and vote. You're never going to be able to ensure that it's going to be a victory. That has to be talked about.
So we talk about being like them. The Democrats have done things, you're absolutely right. Democrats purged the rolls too. Matter of fact, Barack Obama became an elected official because of he purged the rolls. That doesn't.
Oh, how did he purge the rolls?
How did he purge the rolls? Yeah.
When I believe it was city council or state senate, he ran against a brother, and it was a long-standing brother. And the way he won was he said certain people weren't eligible to vote, which is purging the rolls. Purging the rolls happened every year in every election by both parties. So doing something wrong, unless you do more wrong than the other person, doesn't guarantee you the win, because then it just becomes a part of the system, a part of the process. So that doesn't make a difference. Do it the right way, and the right way is you turn your people out. I remember some years ago on the show, I said this was going to be a turnout election. Didn't make a difference. If you're not able to turn out your base, then you were going to lose. And what happened in this election is we see what happened to the youth vote that normally goes Democrat, that swung to the right, swung hard to the right in massive numbers. Remember that Joe Rogan show where almost overnight the numbers went up because of the number of young people who were swayed? So
can we talk about that? But I don't want to cut you off, but I want to jump in on that if you don't mind. To that very thing, because this is where you two come together. The Republicans did a very masterful job of spending money wisely. What I mean by that, folks like us, they gave folks like us some money. Say, hey, talk about us. Here's some dough. Podcasting, influencers. There was an example used where a esthetician, influencer, was doing makeup. And as she's explaining her makeup, she starts to go into a whole rant about how she thought the Republicans were the best choice during the election. Just random. But again, they took that money and spread it out very wide and broadly, same word, different uses in the moment, very broadly, in order to constantly hit the younger vote where they are paying attention. Younger folks are not watching network news like they used to. Young folks are not reading magazines or newspapers like they used to. Young folks are getting the vast majority of their information from Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I say all the time, Brother Barry has said so many times, I've lost count, to be honest with you, how well they played the algorithm. And I think the Democrats are very far behind in that understanding. And because of that, to your point, Rodney, there was a huge swing because you're getting those young voters where those young voters are. You're not putting it where it used to be, where you're most comfortable with what has been common in the past. You're putting it actually where people are. They're getting it, they're seeing it, they're believing it because they see it over and over and over and over and over again. And it's all about 3 seconds. It's a 3-second hit. But it's that 3 second that they may see 30 times a freaking day. And it's like, oh, this guy is such a bad guy. Oh, this gal is such a bad girl. Oh, this policy isn't such a bad policy. Everybody's talking about it. Because in their world, everybody is talking about it. Because where they go, everybody's talking about it. And I think that is definitely something that the Democrats need to catch up. Speaking of her as a flawed candidate, and the fact that Joe was pulled out, stepped out, whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't know if there was a win there. And unfortunately, we will never know if it was a win there because we don't have any do-overs.
We know. No, they know. No, they know. And that's the point. This is the point that's frustrating with the conversation. People know. And the thing is, it's just the idea of having to hold on to this idea of the greatness of the democracy. It's a flawed system. You can hack those machines. They proved it. There are people who actually have this. They're doing interviews everywhere else. Because it's ignored by mainstream media does not make it true. Not true. And you can't tell me that in North Carolina, the Democrats won across the board, but except president. It does not make sense. The logic of it doesn't make sense.
I agree with because most people vote down ballot.
Come on, man. Pennsylvania, Ohio. We're talking about states that will make this woman won. And we can only talk about her being flawed, similar to when the Patriots cheated the greatest show on turf through Spygate. We could talk about the flaws of the Rams' offense or defense only because the Patriots won. If the Patriots missed that field goal, now we're talking about the Rams being one of the greatest offenses ever. What's missed from the conversation is what? The Patriots recording the Rams practice film so they knew what was coming. That's not a part of the conversation. And the same thing with him. And they understand that psychology about America. Americans only care about wins and losses, not how you get the win. And that's what we're talking about. How did he get the win? We're saying she's flawed. Is she really flawed? Is she more flawed than him? If this conversation about Epstein was happening during that race, would it have been a different outcome? That's all I'm saying. If that was
I don't think so, man. I don't think so because, there's still a lot of sexism in our country. There's still a lot of racism in our country. There's still a lot of folks who just don't see.
But what are we seeing now, though, Lee? What are we seeing from his base? Because to me, that's where I feel like the conversation, this is not coming from the left. This is coming from his base. When they start talking about conversations that are leaked from the FBI now, this is his base. These were the people that they were saying when Donald Trump, broached the conversation about Epstein when he was blaming Bill Clinton. He brought Epstein up into the conversation. He put that in the political atmosphere. Okay. So the people that he promised that he was going to release those documents to, that's now a part of his administration, these are the people who are leaking the conversation. This ain't coming from, let's keep in mind, Rupert Murdoch owns the newspaper that's putting this information out.
He's talking about Stone River.
Come on. Hey, listen, nobody's saying that this is coming from a left leaning anywhere. As a matter of fact, watch MSNBC and the boring shit they talk about every night. They're not talking about this. They're not doing, the left is not doing any type of investigative journalism whatsoever on anything. You couldn't give them a story. And part of the reason why you can't give them a story is because they have to believe that this thing is pure. They have to believe it. And so my point is look, there's proof. There's people that's proving it every day. And they're talking about it every day. If Rupert Murdoch did not allow, and he maybe had no control, maybe his editor just said, F it, I'm tired of it. We're tired of it. If he's going to sue us, we're going to fight. Or maybe Donald Trump has done something to some other powerful, rich group, and they don't like how things are being ran. They don't like the idea of how he's trying to run this thing as if he wants to be an oligarch. And now they're fighting back. But what I will tell you is that that's not coming from the other side. The other side don't even know how to coordinate the conversation to even have it effectively enough. You can't tell me when you got Jeffries, that's who you bringing out?
And Booker. Jeffries, Booker, Crockett.
Come on, man. No, Crockett.
Jeffries, Booker, Crockett,
no,
Green. I still count Green.
Do not
See
put.
what he was gonna do.
Do not put Crockett. Do not put Crockett in the same vein as Jeffries and Booker. Booker's still pleading for the best of the Republican senators on the floor, literally crying and whining. That's different. Even Jasmine Crockett has said, listen, I'm pulling back from this national side of the DNC. They don't like my energy. They don't like what I'm saying. I'm only going to focus on what's going on here in Texas. That's why she's pulled back. She's went back home and she's focusing on what's happening in her neck of the woods. That should tell us all we need to know about the DNC. And I hate keep bringing this up because I know one side is supposed to be inherently evil and the other side is supposed to be good. But I will tell you, the supposed good side to me seems complicit in a lot of this, y'all. They seem complicit. And a lot of the complicity is this idea that if we just do it the right way, we'll win. I believe in the fight. If you got to throw sand in somebody's eyes to win, throw sand in their eyes. Get the W. Because clearly we're saying Kamala is a flawed candidate based off of her losing. It does not matter if she had sand thrown in her eyes or not. So I just don't, me personally, I don't get the logic. And Rodney, I think you put a lot of good stuff in a private chat, but if you put that on the thing so everybody else can see it, then that way everybody can join in the conversation and have a back and forth on that dialogue.
So here's the thing. If Epstein was the difference between Harris winning or losing,
yes,
even with the machines being rigged,
yes,
even with the machines being rigged,
yes,
and she did not do it, then from using your analogy, she didn't do what was necessary to win, and nor did her campaign contest the machines that were rigged.
Yep.
And her campaign legally had the ability to do that. She didn't. Well, I'll stick to the same thing. If she had tools, some I think Epstein would have been wrong, but I'm just following your logic here. If she had Epstein in one hand and she had rigged machines in the other, that she could have talked about either to bring about the win, and she didn't, then I still maintain the same thing.
Okay,
so candidate because her campaign didn't do what's necessary to win.
Sequencing matters. So let me get to the sequence. The first thing is that the idea or the science behind the hacked voting machines came after Trump was sworn in. So let's get the sequence right. So she didn't have access to that information. The first thing is that the DNC should have been shouting at the mountaintop, and that's while Biden was in. So let's take it back to Biden since we're covering for Biden. They should have been talking about the voter purge inside of Georgia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, especially when Martin Luther King's own cousin was a part of that purge. It does not make sense. And this is why I agree with Roland Martin about the elimination of black press. The problem is that the white journalists are not doing great investigative work anymore. And that's the issue. Trump got more scandals than Nixon certainly had. Way more scandals. And the fact that the scandals always seem to be just a blur. And then somebody will say, well, he's just hitting us with so much that the people are overwhelmed.
We tired.
We're tired. Well, the question is, if you are in the news making business and this man is giving you material, then you're supposed to make the sausage. How do I give you the things to make the sausage and you're not making the sausage and then you're blaming the person for giving you the material? Use the material. Even if he wants, there's things that he's done to get himself impeached fully. Even the impeachment trials was a sham. Based off of what? Okay, you got elected officials.
Why do you say the impeachment trials were a sham?
They were a sham not from the aspect of the political process. I'm talking about from the journalistic process. They didn't dive in. They were not ripping these things apart. What they were doing, what we found out about our media currently with the 24-hour news cycle is that we have a lot of personalities and we don't have journalists. And once again, that is
a filler, no meat.
Come on, man. So now that's another flaw in what? The democracy, because that's supposed to be the fourth branch, the media. The media is supposed to go through and hold all of these things in place. We know about Clarence Thomas and all of the money that his wife is taking in while he's sitting as a Supreme Court justice. You know, it should be at least one media member. That's their only job. That's their only job. I'm just going to follow him around and I'm going to write stories about him annually about how many bribes he's taken. You know why? Because sooner or later, if you ratchet up the fire, guess what he has to do? Somebody has to attach themselves to him and he has to step down because he's a Republican. Somebody on the left, some left-wing journalist is supposed to follow every nook and cranny of a payoff that he's sitting and presiding over. That should be a story. I'm not asking people to do what's not inside of the wheelhouse of their job. What I'm saying is I can't call this woman a flawed candidate based off of her losing when at the end of the day, she belongs to a party. She belongs to a team, right? It's like saying, let me give you a good example. It's like saying the Kansas City Chiefs lost. No shade to Rashi. But
they did, though. They got ass with.
Here we go
Patrick Mahomes is not a winning quarterback.
Oh,
When we know Patrick Mahomes is a winning quarterback, they didn't lose because of Patrick Mahomes. They lost because they couldn't protect Patrick Mahomes. So it's
right. They lost because the idea of when they put their team against another team, the coordination and the mindset of the team did not work out. And did you see how big he didn't
They lost because fools finally recognized that Mahomes' ass was getting all the calls, and the NFL did not want that to become a scandal. So they had to let him lose on the biggest of stage. Don't try to overtalk me because it ain't gonna work. They had to let him lose on the biggest of stage in order for them to protect the shield. It was all about protecting the shield. Let's be clear.
Okay, y'all remember that Trump was there, right? Y'all remember that?
Come on. Hey, listen. Come on, man.
It'll be another loss this year. Then they'll rip down and do back-to-back championships, 27, 28, and then his ass gonna retire.
Listen, I've been listening this whole time, and I do also feel sorry for anyone who as brain addled as Trump is and is being, allowed to. It's like we used to have a curtain of decorum in this country that is totally gone. And if you ever, we've been chipping away at it so finely, so long that it's just stuff we didn't used to do. And while I don't think it's right with MSNBC, how they attack, it's the difference between an ad hominem attack and an attack of the subject matter. And I feel like we attack the man more than we attack what the actual thing that he's endorsing or getting away with doing. Yes, he is already been called a sex offender. He's already been told in the public life. We already agreed as a public he's a sex offender. But we also agreed that we know quite a few of them. We've known Hollywood and that whole era of television is sex offender heavy. You know, when you take your child into that environment, if you don't sit with them on every couch at every party, then your child may soon be exploited. There has been no, I don't think, have they been hiding it, Thomas? Have Hollywood been hiding, even the white folks told, Corey Feldman told, Michael Jackson told. Who didn't tell? Who didn't? Everybody tells about the dangers of messing around with Clive Davis, and now rest in like you said, what you say, Thomas? Rest in piss, uh, uh, Quincy Jones. They talk about the dangers of dealing with certain people. The Weinstein. We're talking about Epstein. Weinstein's still up. So we have incorporated this perversion into the fold of our economy, Thomas. And you want us to be mad now after we have already kind of
Rashi,
accepted that the guy that
Rashi,
he accidentally pedophile
Rashi,
sometimes,
Rashi,
we ate it. We've been eating it.
Rashi, I would love to joke about it. But when I think about R. Kelly, and I think about Bill Cosby, and I think about Diddy, and I think how we throw our own people away, I cannot sit around and say, okay, because it's this guy right here, and he's sitting in the most powerful seat in the world, that because everyone else does it, and it's supposed to be a norm, that we're supposed to ignore it because of him. This is a part of political relevancy, because he made it a part of his campaign promise. Let's keep that first and foremost. Conversation to Epstein, he broached the conversation. I just want to keep on bringing it back to, he started this conversation about Epstein. Nobody else is talking about it. I keep saying Biden never talked about it. Harris never talked about it. He talked about it. Then they take up the American public's airtime with these binders, saying that they got these files. They invite everybody to the White House. And what are they talking about? They're talking about Epstein, and that they're going to release these files. Once again, they broached the conversation. Nobody else broached the conversation. And last but not least, I want to say this name because he ain't been talked about since he said what he said. But Elon Musk was the one who said, hey, Donald J. Trump is in the Epstein files.
Okay, thank you, Tom. You think this is a backstage Elon campaign?
No, I'm not. Nope. It's not an Elon campaign, because Donald J. Trump was saying that the Democrats were full of pedophiles. That's what they were saying on the black market to gin up the right. That's what they use. So if your Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein, kills you, I don't feel bad for you. You created the monster. Nobody else was talking about Epstein but Trump. And I realized why he talked about Epstein. And now I understand why Epstein had to go. Because, Lee, Epstein might have been right. Epstein might have recognized that Donald Trump, when they said, his brother says, Epstein stopped dealing with Trump because he recognized Trump was a crook. That's what his brother said. He said he stopped.
How long the hell did that take?
But keep in mind,
more than 15 years.
Keep in mind, Epstein, who was also running Ponzi scams, one way a man can call you a crook is if I hand you a bunch of money and you don't give me a return on the money I gave you. I'm stealing from them and I'm trying to flip it with you. Now imagine if I'm stealing from them to flip it with you, and then you turn around and take it from me. And on top of that, I'm sitting on your secrets, i.e., the letter that he wrote for the birthday, that message, right? So of course, Epstein got to go under.
I mean, they sitting on each other's secrets.
No. Epstein's sitting on a larger secret because Epstein ain't the president of the United States. Epstein died while Trump was in office. Epstein got convicted while who was in office, Lee?
Donald J. Trump.
Donald J. Trump was in office. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what we call covering your own mess. You lock him up, you kill him.
True, Rodney. True, Rodney.
Because he didn't. No, you don't kill him. You
All right,
induce
so
him to
look,
kill himself. You induce him to kill
we,
himself,
we
allegedly.
we only have 40 minutes left in the show, and I wanted to get to Malcolm-Jamal Warner's death.
Oh, do we
Also, yeah, I
have
know, right?
to?
But yeah, we got to because
Because I
we
told
got
you
to
I
get
was the sister. I'm the
hold on, hold
sister
on, hold on.
after Sandra.
Let's not go there right now. I want to put a bow on this real quick. So while all this is going back and forth, there was an executive order issued to release the documents around the assassination of MLK as well. I know, right? So, you talking about wagging the dog, Rodney. There's anything and everything this brother will do. And well, I'm sorry, he's not a brother. And this cat will do in order to try to change the damn subject. Now, I think the most gangster thing was I think was it Bernice? Bernice released a meme with her father just sitting, looking flat, and she captioned it, "Okay," and now uh, release the Epstein files. So I think that was the most gangster thing that happened this week. To be real with you, I think that was even more gangster than the South Park episode. To be totally honest with you, that was straight damn gangster. Like, okay, whatever. My dad's dead. There's been books here, books there. Everybody knows about the affairs. Everyone knows about him hitting white women, uh, sexually. I'm talking about, not physically, sexually, so on and so forth. So, which I mean, come on, that's old news. Let's get to the news that matters at this point. Um, to that, again, talking about wagging a dog, this dude will do anything to try to change the damn subject and get the pressure off of him. But this takes me back a couple of steps, and I'm gonna roll this up. I'm sorry, and then transition to why I said earlier that, and Rashi, you asked me why I didn't think he was smart enough. To everyone's account, yes, he did all of those things, but in this moment, with all the other things that are going on, I don't see him being that chief button pusher, that chief level puller. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to get a cat a pass. No, he deserves it. Again, I'm openly saying I feel bad for him because he is the face of all this foolishness that's going down, and we have
He
yet
is
to do
this
a
foolish.
very good deep dive, to expose the
Mhm.
other folks that are behind him, warning him, pushing him, prodding him to push these buttons and pull these levers. Now, moving
I
on.
think they done killed like 6 people to distract us, Lord. Have y'all
Right.
seen the rate of which we losing uh elder peoples? Did y'all know Mangione was gone?
Who?
Chuck. Chuck Mangione. Right? We lost
Not
Hulk
familiar.
Hogan. We lost Malcolm-Jamal Warner. We lost this one lady who cooks to suicide. We done lost like 7 or 8 people. Some of them we don't recognize as important, but it's like a really it's got people wondering if we just done got despondent as a nation and gave
No.
up on pushing. But I will say this: Malcolm Jamal Warner has hit our community really hard, Brother Lee. And I've seen several posts of
You
of
stupid,
el-
Rodney.
of elder people who talk about Theo like he was their own son. You understand? Like they call him Theo. They don't even he was so
Correct.
ingrained in our understanding of black
Correct.
male phenomena that they won't even call him Malcolm. They keep calling him Theo. You understand? So uh I feel like it's not right for us to skim past the loss that we feel when we get that Chadwick what you know what I'm talking about. I always mess his name up.
Bozeman.
But Bozeman,
Bozeman.
sorry. I was gonna call him Boswell. Uh and other prominent members of our community that we have grown with over time that we thought we had forever with. And we look up and oh, there it is. Now he was
54.
he, in past with drowning, and I got a particular thing about drowning because that's how I lost my son. But he went to save his daughter, which it just pinged in my head so crazy that he was there to save his daughter. However, he lost his life in the effort of saving her. So it was almost like a what you call that, Thomas? Like it was for TV. Like if somebody was there filming the shit, it would have hit the not the Peabody. What they get a TV people. It would have hit. It would have. You understand, because of the idea of exchange of life and me for you, and what black men are willing to do. They will give their life. They will lay down. They say, "I'll give my life for you, girl," and it's not hypothetical. It is actually literal. So his passing is not like he got found on the toilet like Elvis, packed full of pills and too high to he we got to start, I don't know, classifying death. He didn't go on top of some dirty hooker. You understand?
So I've been to Costa Rica. I've been to Costa Rica in those waters, and I had this conversation with Wisdom. So when I was in Costa Rica, and I think I mentioned this a couple times, at night when the sun sets, like it's dark. First time I've ever been anywhere where the skies are clear, but you don't see the moon anywhere. So she wanted to walk on the beach in the water. And I was like, I ain't doing that. Because what happened to Malcolm was my fear. Because when you watch the water, we watched the water earlier in the day, and you're watching that current that's pushing up on that beach, man, that water was rushing rough, y'all. And imagine being on a beach, being asked to walk in that water along the beach at night with no moonlight. Like literally, we're walking on the beach and we're just seeing shadow figures walking up on it. You can't see anything. This is not America. This is not Cancun where the
like where the bars and stuff are on the beach and you can see from the light of the back of the
street lights and all that, right?
Rashi, I got this woman in my hand and she's telling me, let's go get in the water. And I'm like, hey, no, you can't swim and I can't swim.
I'm good on that.
He said, baby.
See, this is this overbloated. Oh, you're not romantic. No,
that's
yeah,
the
you're
most
right. I'm
black
trying to
boy
leave.
I've never seen.
All that.
What? It's time to go. Boom, credits.
hey, listen, that's how I was feeling, right?
You know what I'm saying?
I got hit with not being romantic enough because I didn't want to get in the water. And so as soon as we saw what happened to Brother Malcolm, rest in peace to him, she said, and I know soon as you saw that, you was like, that's why I didn't get in that water. And it wasn't that. I really felt like when I saw him die because of it, I said, man, this is the importance of Black entertainers, because he's like a relative to everybody because of his role as Theo Huxtable. And also after Theo, some of the energy and wise words that he would give in interviews as a mature man. I'm like, I didn't think about me not getting in the water. I thought about these entertainers of today who really don't carry themselves with the type of light that Malcolm carries himself with, and how we feel like we're mourning a relative because of his role as Theo Huxtable, and how that, once again, y'all, it's like certain things that happen in life that should be reset points, right? Let's be real. Malcolm's not Denzel Washington. He's not Samuel Jackson. Matter of fact, he ain't even Michael B. Jordan.
He ain't Stevie Wonder. That's right, because I don't know if y'all ready for Stevie Wonder to die.
But as far as his box office appeal is what I'm saying. He was just Theo Huxtable for so many years for us all. But that the importance of him just being Theo. And I feel like this is like a piece of lesson that we can take in our own lives. You don't have to be the Nova Star. You just have to be consistent and present. He was present. Them reruns made him present in our lives. Our children's children will know who Theo Huxtable or Malcolm Warner is based off of that. He was consistent We always saw his light when he was on the film. We always seen his light when he was off the film. Never had a bad moment publicly. That's what I thought about in his loss, y'all. I thought about his consistency as a man. And, I hope to be, as I told her, I hope one day that I can actually act as mature as he grew into be as a man. Always calm, always steady, always present, dropping jewels, and you never seen the worst of him. Not saying that brother didn't have his worst times. He just didn't allow us to see him at his worst. And that's what I appreciate about that brother.
Rodney, you want to go or you want me to go first?
I'll go. About Theo. He was a person that we watched grow up from a child to his voice changing into manhood and taking a part of who he was as well as what he got from being on the Cosby Show and from Bill, and becoming, and you know, the former first lady wrote a book called Becoming, and that's sort of how I see Theo, Malcolm-Jamal Warner, is we watched him become. And, Brother Barry is right. We didn't hear about it much in the news, which probably was a good thing, because usually when you hear about people in the news, it's a scandal. As far as I know, he had possibly one seemingly minor incident that even came close to the news. So I thought he was a good representation of a black man, of a black person, and was really surprised and touched hearing about his passing. So we have to honor the people while they're here, though, because once they're gone, they're gone. And
Indeed.
at best, we have the memories. And I'm a person who still watches the Cosby Show because of its significance in how it helped shape the positive image of black people and giving young black people a father figure.
Yes, come on now, come on.
Young black fathers a father figure, an example of how to be a father. I admit, because I was not raised by a man, it was partly watching the Huxtables that I learned how to be a man. My son, I know that I have used some things that I heard from Cosby talking to Malcolm-Jamal Warner as Theo. I use some of those things with my son to help my son be the person that he is today. So Theo encapsulated a whole lot for a whole bunch. And thankfully, we have a legacy of multiple years where we can watch that brother become.
Alan Poussin, for those of you who don't know, who was kind of a clinical social mastermind behind how they uh, uh, formulated the Cosby Show. His name is Alan Poussin, and he meant that. He meant for us to feel Theo, for him to see him grow uh, psychosexually, to see him struggle educationally. His uh, TV admittance of dyslexia and having those numbers dance around. Brother Barry, talk to me, because you've been in the classroom. You've seen the associated behavior. You've seen what happens to us, when we try to lay down educational track. That's where I come from when we're dealing with this idea of a learning deficiency. His ability to say, I may even be saddled with this as an individual, whether he had dyslexia or not. He said, I'm willing to have it on this show so that we can bring, information to this concept of the prison to pipeline. Tell me that ain't the schoolyard to prison pipeline thing they was talking about when boys can't quite conceive in the way that we pushing in the classroom, and they begin the associated behavior that labels us label them as a problem. So, okay, let me tell you, Brother Rodney, After Denise, you don't know, Cosby had a side baby. It was me. So after Denise, but before Vanessa, with her funky ass. I can't stand Vanessa. After Denise, but before Vanessa, he went on a medical conference and he met my mama, and that's when my daddy made me. He sent me the money, almost like he sent that real side piece baby that he actually had. But me. So I'm a part of the Cosby family too. I've watched every single episode. It showed me not just what it means to be the only boy in a household. I don't know if y'all had that. Leo, you're not the you had a brother. Rodney, I believe you have a brother.
Yes.
Thomas, brother.
Well, too many.
Too many, brother. Okay, so the
Rashi.
phenomena of being an only man and with a lot of women around you, that not the only man, but when your daddy's a doctor and you're the boy, it becomes real. Okay, so I learned so much about what it's supposed to look like, what it could look like, what it should look like, and even the struggle. So, fellas, thank you so much for honoring brother Malcolm-Jamal
Rashi.
Warner. Yeah. What?
I haven't said my piece yet.
You sure? Are you sure? You be
Absolutely.
saying your piece, brother. You be saying the shit out of your piece.
I haven't. So let me get in. Thank you. As a young man, I grew up with the show. Theo and I are roughly 3 years apart. So to see him on television and his awkwardness and fitting in the family dynamic, two parent household, I was grateful, jealous, and envious of all at once. To be honest with you, I was old enough and wise enough to recognize that normally we didn't get to see a black family as a whole on television. So I was very grateful that we did get to see a mother, father, and children all in the same home. I was very grateful to see them be successful. The pilot episode, they were not doctor and lawyer. She seemed to be more of a stay-at-home mom, and I think he was like a limousine driver or a taxi driver or something like that initially.
Yeah.
They did not have Sandra either. Sandra came later on, but that's neither here nor there.
And it was supposed to be a Jewish family.
Okay, that's neither here nor there.
That's why they were called the Huxtables.
I know the brother throughout the years, wondered about him after the show, was glad to see him prosper afterwards, because he did go behind the camera a lot. He didn't get in front of the camera, but then when he came back in front of the camera, he killed every role that he had moving forward. Also knew about his musical journey. So this year in particular, he was at the Capitol Jazz Fest. I was very hopeful that our guest was going to be on this year because our guest was hosting the stage that he was on this year. So they got to meet even more so than I did. But during the Capitol Jazz Fest this year, it stuck on my mind heavily that I had to go over to see him and his band perform, which I did. They did a very good set. Very good set. I was like, go ahead, man. That's what's up. That's what's up. When the news broke this week of his passing, it really took me and it shook me. Again, we are very close in age. We're only like 3 years apart. So for someone to die right in my age range that I literally grew up with is very hard.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
Yes.
The funnier thing, though, is Sunday. I'm here home watching television, and the Cosby Show was on. This particular episode is the one in which him and Justine were trying to get some alone time together. He was complaining to Heathcliff, Bill Cosby, that it was almost impossible for him and her to get any alone time. And Bill Cosby responded. He said, "You telling me?" And he smiled. He smiled it off. He smirked it off. Boom, boom. And then they returned to the kitchen where Justine was there with Rudy, and Rudy took all her time, and that was that. What many people don't know is Michelle Williams, that's the young lady's name, was actually his fiance in real life. They were boyfriend, girlfriend, later on to become fiance in real life. She passed away due to cancer. The reason she passed away due to cancer at such a young age was because she refused treatment for the cancer. Why? She wanted to conceive a child with him, and she knew that if she took the cancer treatment, she would not be able to conceive a child. So she refused the treatment in order to get pregnant to leave him with a piece of her because she knew she was going to pass. It didn't work out that way. She passed. She was not pregnant. It really did devastate him. No disrespect to his wife or his daughter, but the only thing that I thought of when I heard of his passing was him and Justine finally got some alone time together. And again, no disrespect to his family, but that young man carried the weight of her passing very hard for a number of years. So I know she was there waiting for him on the other side. It's hard not to get emotional talking about this, because you're right. It feels like we're mourning a member of the family, not just some cat that you watched on TV randomly once a week, not just some random family from God only knows where that you would never run into. The beautiful thing about the Cosby Show is though they were well-to-do, they seemed and remain extremely grounded. Think of the characters that were on the show. Adam Sandler got his start on the Cosby Show. You had the voice of college basketball, Dickie V, was on the Cosby Show. Jimmy V was on the Cosby Show. They played handyman or some crap like that. They came to do some work in the house. Remember that? Yeah. Think of all the jazz legends.
Yeah, I mean Nancy Wilson, Scatman's brothers.
Think of all the jazz legends that came on the show because
the painter, the painting they bought. What was that painting they bought of the funeral march?
The funeral procession, yes. But to Rashi's point, the psychiatrist, the brother that was the psychiatrist, did a very good job of helping mold that show and helping that show really, 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 I got my eyes closed for a reason, embed itself in our psyche.
What was Theo's final job on the Huxtables?
His final job?
He had a job.
He was a counselor.
No, he was a black male teacher. Come on, y'all. He was a black man in the classroom. What they been crying for, Thomas? What they beg you for?
So, again, this one definitely hit different because of that great body of work that we all call The Cosby Show, because of the spinoff to A Different World, which I believe he did 1 or 2 appearances on.
Yeah, because she failed. I mean, she was up there fucking around. Never mind.
So yeah, it was. It definitely hit different, without a doubt. But Godspeed to the young man, and I am grateful for the memories. Rodney put on earlier, changing the subject a little bit. Oh, well, hold on. Let's stick with this a little bit. 2 things to stick out for. Well, 3 things, honestly, that stick out with the character Theo. Number 1. Well, hell, it's 4 things. Number 1, the Dragon Lady episode. That is hilarious.
My favorite.
Yeah, when the teacher comes to.
I think I dated a sister that looked like the Dragon Lady. Keep going.
Right. Number 2, when Cockroach represented him in the case when they did something after practice. They got kicked off the team, but they didn't want to admit they were kicked off the team.
Yeah.
Number 3, the Night and Day, that episode when they sung Night and Day to the grandparents for their anniversary.
Did you even watch the show?
Yes. And number 1, Gordon Cottrell. There will never be another Gordon Cottrell. That was absolutely.
Did you remember the episode where they put Theo out and he had to purchase his apartment back?
Yes,
that's the one. When they put that, come on, baby, come on, Rodney.
And I'm not. Well, I mean, I couldn't do them all.
No,
I couldn't do them all.
They didn't put him out, did they, Rodney? They didn't put him out, did they? They explained to him what's about to happen, right, Rodney?
Right. Yeah, the value of money 2 times. That one and the other one when Bill Cosby gave him the money in the hand. He said, "You have a girlfriend?" He said, "Yep." He said,
Can I tell you, I was in love with my sister's husband. Denise's husband was so fine. When she moved her husband in the house, I was saying Acapulco. Denise's husband was fine as hell. I don't know why they let her move her husband up in there. But this is what. But let's spin there. What did they do with that brownstone? That brownstone was not a single man's bachelor pad. What did that brownstone was a business, right, Thomas?
Right.
Was that not his medical business in the basement?
Yes.
I mean, not the basement, because there was the basement, and then there's that sideways apartment that they kick off in a brown.
It's still the basement. It's the front. It's the front of the basement.
And then his family was there, right? Let's talk about it now. Let's use that brownstone, right, Brother Rodney? Come on. That brownstone housed 3, him, his children, and his de facto granddaughter.
Right. And his grandchildren at one point, because Sandra and Elvin had to move back in while they were trying to find the new house. So Sandra, Elvin, the twins were in the home. Denise, her husband, and Olivia were in the home, and then the kids and the parents were all in the home at one time. We need to move on because we got 13 minutes left.
How do we get it? What are you looking for, Mr. Thomas? You looking for a fight against the system? That brownstone is the fights. The business is in the home, and three plus generations are in that exact same home, right?
Gotcha. Rashi, we got to move. We got 13 minutes left in the show. So I want to talk briefly about Cambodia and Thailand before we wrap up and move into the wrap-up portion of the show. So over 100 years ago, when the French occupied Cambodia, they drew a map of the border between Thailand and Cambodia. This, for whatever reason, has sparked off tensions in the past week or so. I don't want to say for every reasons because I know the reasons. Cambodia is backed by China. Thailand is backed by the United States. This is a de facto war between the two nations without the two nations actually going to war. And I can't even say it's a whole war right now. It's more of a scrimmage or anything. Cambodia did request a ceasefire, unilateral ceasefire, yesterday. I don't know if they've gotten it, but they did request such. Think about this. The Thai are very well equipped. They are very well manned across all branches of service. They are backed by the United States and its technological advances. Again, Cambodia does not have as many folks enlisted in its military, nor does it have the military might because it is backed by China that Thai has. So hopefully this will subside in the very near future. We got enough going on, to be honest with you, without an eruption in Asia, while we already have what's going on between Ukraine and Russia going on in Europe. Need any more daggone pop-offs. You know, we had the one in the Middle East not too long ago, and that has seemed to calm down as well. But I've said this for years, and I'll keep saying it because the world is very close to war. The world is very, very close to war. So we need to be mindful of that. Really, we do. One thing I'll say on that too, because we have talked about this on the show. I know, brother Rodney, when you invited me out to Vegas last time, brother Barry, when we talked about me coming back to Minnesota the next go around, whenever that is, we talked about doing some weapons training. You know, y'all, you don't have to like a gun. You don't have to want a gun. You need one. There's no other way of saying that one. There's no nice way of saying it. It cannot be said nice. You might not like it. You might not want it. You damn sure need one. And worst case scenario, best case scenario, go out and get a shotgun. Do something. Do something. Because if jokers start banging on your door in the middle of the night, they ain't stopping because you have a bat. They're not. They're not stopping because you got a knife. You can bring all of that to a gunfight. That shit don't work. It don't work. Stop watching. What's the boy name? Ballerina. What's the boy name?
John Wick.
John Wick. Thank you. Your ass ain't John Wick. You know what I'm saying? You ain't the last of the Mohicans. You ain't just throwing knives around with skill like that. Most folks ain't doing shit like that. When they come with that hot lead, hold on. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Okay? I don't need to even be near you enough for you to be able to have one of those things to be effective when I'm coming with that lead for your ass. Let's be clear on that. So you at least need to give yourself a chance if such a thing is coming down. It's coming your way. Because let me tell you something. I can shoot. And I'm good at it. Like, good at it. Please understand and believe that. Both hands. Multitude of platforms. I'm good at what I do. Very good at what I do. So I don't need to be near you when you coming at me with a bat. I don't need to be near you when you coming at me with a damn taser. I don't need to be near you if you got a knife. I can sit your ass down and you would never even know I was coming. That's another thing I was taught to do. Please understand and believe it. So again, you may not like it. You may not want it. But it's damn sure something you need. Rodney always says you got 1,000 rounds. You better do something. You better do something. And let me tell y'all something. Okay, I got you. I got him, Rodney. There's a when you can't shoot, when you're not trained, what you tend to do is go through ammunition very quickly. Very quickly. So that 1,000 rounds, yeah, you need to get up on that. You need to get up on that. Brother Barry, what you got? We got 7 minutes left. Rashi dropped off. I don't know what happened.
So in the Twin Cities, we had, well, first thing I want to say, if you are watching the show, I'm going to make an announcement a little bit later. I got to run an errand and come back, but we are postponing the food drop until August 6th. Just some logistical things that we need to get worked out. But locally here also, we just found out that an 11-year-old young brother who was murdered a few weeks ago in North Minneapolis was killed while pointing a gun at the 16-year-old who killed him. Not only was this 11-year-old holding a gun as if he was about to shoot the 16-year-old, he was in a stolen car with his 15-year-old brother. And to me, whenever there is a reset point, that's the reset point. The reset point of not pointing fingers, but figuring out how we can solve and make things better is upon us locally. I don't know how this is not big news, I don't know how we're not having conversations. They said 3 families showed up and they thought it was their 11-year-old that was murdered. So that shows you that there's 3 families in that same neighborhood that's in peril. He got shot outside of a park that does not have a lot of programming for minors to be on the inside where they can be safe and learning things and exploring things out of the ghetto. We have to really put pressure on not just the families, because we always say, well, it's the families. And we just talked about the Cosby Show, and I salute to the Cosbys because they show generations of family growth and what it's like to have the families. But when we don't have 2-parent households, or we don't have families that are well educated or have wealth, we should have a society or a system that are taking taxpayers' dollars that can take 11-year-olds in so they can do something constructive with that idle time. After school programs have been taken away since the 90s, along with the buses. Neither party has brought that back nationwide. We have to find something for these kids to do, y'all. And we got to stop pointing the finger. This young man died. His mother will have to bury him. The 16-year-old, by the way, will not be charged with his murder. I think he'll get charged manslaughter, but he won't be charged for murder because they have the video of the young man pointing the gun, getting ready to shoot him. But we don't have self-defense as a law in the state of Minnesota. But I just wanted to share that to people out there, man. We gotta change things.
Rodney, what you got?
At 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, there will be a Black Student Agenda meeting held here in Las Vegas in the 5th largest school district in the nation. It's going to be Zoom so people can join in and talk about what we want for our children within the school system and what we can do to bring that to fruition. So that will be in roughly 3 minutes.
Okay. I want to say something to everybody live or listen later. Please follow us on YouTube, y'all. Please. Follow us on YouTube. So look, we got good followers on Instagram, Facebook. We got it, but no one's hitting the like button on YouTube a lot. So we got to get the YouTube numbers up. Come on, now, hit the YouTube button, like, subscribe, follow us on the YouTube. We need to get those numbers up, okay? Outside of that, another good week, another solid week. I was thinking earlier today, Rodney, that in a couple of weeks I'll be doing this during the night because I posted the link already. I thought I did. Didn't I send it in the chat? I thought I did. But I'll get it out there. I'll be in Asia. So it'll actually be Friday night when I'm doing the show because they are 12 to 13 hours ahead, depending on the time of the year. So, yeah, I'll be doing this either at 10 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock at night, one of the week, one of those in very short order because I'll be in Korea on that particular day. Looking forward to hitting the streets again just to get my feet wet. I have some friends still over there, so I'm very much looking forward to that. If you need anything, please let me know. I will bring it back. End of the month, bro. You know, I always go on vacation at the end of the month. So I think that's the 25th, 26th, some crap like that of August. Yeah, it's the it's the 29th of August. Well, it'll be the 29th there, it'll be the 30th here. So yeah, on the 29th of August and whatnot. So I'm looking forward to it, y'all.
Are they ahead of us or behind us?
Actually, they're ahead, so I'll be at 10 o'clock at night there. I'm sorry. 10 o'clock at night there. Yeah. I got to make sure of that too because I know I'm flying that day. I think I'm flying earlier though. I'll make sure. I'll let you all know just to make sure I'm not traveling because I'm leaving Korea to go to Vietnam on that Saturday. But I thought I did it earlier so it wouldn't be a conflict with the show. But I may have messed up, to be honest with you. I'll figure it out. But anyhow, please stay hydrated. It's warm out. I don't know where the hell all this rain is coming from. I don't know if it's impacting you. Well, not you, Rodney, because it don't rain in Vegas. But Thomas, I don't know if it's impacting you. But it is still warm out. Please stay hydrated. Please stay safe. If you have school-age children or grandchildren, as I said in the comments, enjoy what time you got with them before they take their asses back to school. but rejoice in the fact they about to take their asses back to school. You ain't got to deal with them all damn day long. Look, if no one's told you thus far, we love you. Ain't a damn thing you can do about it. Until next week, family, we will try to do better.